But what if Spring Lakes wasn't just a man, but something far older? I'm Kim, and this is Hun Channel.
Do you know that in the misty hills of Scotland, there's an ancient legend of a creature with only one eye and one leg? Tonight, we'll uncover the strange tale of Spring Lakes, a mysterious figure that wandered the streets of Broughty Ferry over a century ago. By the end of this story, you'll learn the true story behind the one-legged watcher and what still might linger in the shadows of this eerie town. Act 1. The Ancient Fear. The Legend of Fachan. In the Scottish Highlands, an ancient name lingers in whispered tales. Fachan. It was neither human nor demon, but something older, a watcher born from Celtic and Pictish myth. The earliest written account appeared in the 18th century West Highland Tales, where folklorist John Francis Campbell wrote, "He has but one eye, one leg, and one arm, his body covered in moss and hair. When he leaps upon that single leg, the very mountains tremble." In the old stories of Scotland, Fachan was said to be a cursed warrior, condemned after death to guard the mountain passes and the mouths of the lochs. He was both protector and omen, a guardian who awakened whenever mankind disrupted the balance of the land or trespassed upon sacred ground. Shepherds swore they had heard his footsteps, not hooves, not boots, but the slow, metallic strike of iron upon stone. Over time, the creature appeared under many names: the one-legged man, the one-eyed watcher. To folklorists, he symbolized imbalance, the consequence of mankind's greed and its rupture with nature and the divine. No one truly knew if Fachan ever existed, but his legend endured until the age of steel and smoke, when the myth would awaken again in another form. Act 2. A 19th century anomaly, the jumping shadow of Broughty Ferry. In February of 1867, the Dundee Courier and Argus published a series of bizarre reports. The setting was the coastal town of Broughty Ferry, east of Dundee. The article spoke of a strange figure seen at night, leaping through the streets in the most fantastic and unnatural manner. Some claimed his footsteps struck the cobblestones with the weight of iron. Fear spread quickly. Residents avoided going out after dark. Some even advised carrying pistols for protection. They named it the Phantom Spring Lakes. A few nights later, a letter arrived at the newspaper signed Broughty Castle. The writer claimed he had seen Spring Lakes placing turnip lanterns carved with devilish faces outside the doors of local homes. He confronted the intruder, was chased, and in panic hurled a flower pot that struck the figure's head. The body fell. The mask cracked. What lay beneath was not a monster, but a young man, bleeding from the nose. Yet the mystery didn't end there. Over the next 10 days, Broughty Ferry was flooded with new sightings and imitators. Some swore that Spring Lakes had broken into a house, standing motionless in the middle of a room before performing strange jerking movements. Others saw him at James' Place, hopping wildly in the road, muttering words in no known language. At the East Free Church, two elderly gentlemen tried to corner him with their walking sticks, but a passing carriage distracted them, and the figure vanished into the mist. A later report claimed that the creature had moved north to Cupar Angus, where local youths armed themselves with slingshots to test whether this thing, if struck, would actually bleed. But then, panic had spread across Scotland's eastern coast. Act 3. Social Panic, or Echoes of Faith. Some said it was nothing more than Victorian hysteria. After all, at the same time, England was obsessed with another legend, Spring-Heeled Jack, a demonic leper said to prowl rooftops and attack women. The events in Broughty Ferry seemed merely a Scottish echo of the same story, but Scotland's locals believed otherwise. They insisted that the first unmasked youth had been only a vessel, that something else had entered him, that the power, the thing that could leap on one leg and vanish into shadow, was not human at all. Old men began to whisper, could it be Fachan, the one-legged watcher of the Highlands, now roused from centuries of slumber by the clang of the industrial age, by the roar of furnaces and the pounding of iron. Act 4. The Secret of the Industrial Age. The Iron Experiment. By the mid-19th century, Dundee stood as one of Scotland's industrial hearts. Its port was a forest of chimneys and shipyards. At night, the firelight from Urquhart Foundry painted the sky red. According to later oral accounts, that same winter, a young engineer at the foundry had been working on a secret project, a mechanical spring device designed to help a man leap higher than nature allowed. His inspiration, he said, came from the old legend of Fachan. If we can understand the power of imbalance, he told his peers, then man may learn to leap higher than the gods themselves. But something went terribly wrong. The furnace exploded. Steam and molten metal tore through the workshop. The apprentice nearest the blast was pulled into the machinery, and when the wreckage cooled, no body was ever found. That night, dock workers along the river heard a sound echoing through the fog, a slow rhythmic clang, as if metal itself had learned to walk. A few days later, the first courier reports of spring legs began to appear. Whispers spread. The apprentice had not died. He had been fused with the machine, reborn as a half-man, half-iron watcher. And the lame spring legs? Perhaps it did not describe his movement at all, but the thing hidden beneath his flesh, springs and steel forged into bone. Act 5. Imitation, Possession, and Contagion. As the story spread, young men across Dundee began to imitate the mysterious figure. Some donned white shirts, others wrapped themselves in cloth, mocking the terror that had gripped the town. But not all were jesters. Several imitators soon suffered breakdowns. Local doctors recorded patients claiming to hear metallic footsteps inside their heads, as if something were calling them, as if another leg were awakening inside their bodies. Those reports would later appear in the Dundee University local archives, though all were labeled unverified. Still, one disturbing pattern remained consistent. Every incident occurred on nights when the foundries ran their midnight furnaces. Fire, fog, metal, vibration, 4 elements that together seemed to summon something ancient back into the world. Act 6. Disappearance and Trace. By March of 1867, the Courier abruptly stopped publishing stories of spring legs. Police made no official statement. The reports ceased, as if the phantom had never existed at all. Years later, in Edinburgh and Leapt, a new terror emerged, a white-clad figure leaping on rooftops at night. The press named him Spring-Heeled Jack once more. Some believed it was the same force reborn, a curse, or a mission, continuing in another city. All residents of Broughty Ferry would tell later generations. Whenever the port fog rolled in and the old furnaces rumbled back to life, they could still hear it, that sound, distant yet deliberate, thump, thump, thump. It was neither hoof nor hammer. It was the rhythm of a single foot-striking stone, a cadence of iron and flesh intertwined. Act 7. The Price of Imbalance. In legend, Fachan was a spirit cursed to guard the earth, a reminder of the boundary between man and nature. But in the industrial age, humankind tried to replicate that power, and in doing so, created a new kind of monster. Perhaps Spring Legs was merely the echo of human ambition, or perhaps he was proof that ancient forces can be reborn whenever we disturb the equilibrium between progress and reverence. So if one night, walking through the fog of Broughty Ferry, you hear the slow, metallic beat of a single step behind you, do not turn around. Because the Watcher, the one-legged guardian of the mist, may still be searching for someone to finish his work.
I'm Kim. If you like this video, please subscribe us and stay with me. You will never face the dark alone.